CM 365, all about Carnatic music. Recently, one Rasika asked me a question about notation, and his question was, generally, learning from notation is discouraged. It is understandable for novices. When a person has attained reasonable mastery over swaras and their forays, can one learn from notation? This also helps to bring to light compositions that have gone into disuse or never saw the light of the day. This was a very interesting point that he made. And in trying to find an answer to this question, I probed deeper into the concept of notation itself to see what is the purpose of notation in our music system, what is its function, and what does it actually try to convey in terms of the musicality. First, I will try to give a very broad definition from the Western perspective, and then probably we'll look into it more deeper from the Carnatic viewpoint. Now, what is notation? It is a system used to visually represent orally perceived music sung or played on the instrument. So, this is very clear that it's a visual representation of what we are actually hearing. In the Western context, the purpose of notation is different. And here, printing music on a page allows the composer to convey information to the musician who is going to perform that particular composer's work. The more detailed the notation, the more precise a performer will be in terms of his presentation of that particular piece of music. Notation tells a musician what notes to play, what notes not to play, how fast or slow to play them, and also give instruction on the dynamics and timbre of that particular composition. And especially in the days before audio recording and playback, we see that music was often written out as a means of preserving and communicating it. Now, composers use notation to capture sound which the performer then reads to play the music. So the composer actually paints with sound, but how does one paint with sound? How do you decipher all those dots and lines to make music out of them? The canvas in the case of the Western music, I would say, is the staff, which is a set of 5 lines, and there are 4 spaces upon which the music is placed, and thus in constant, and this becomes actually very, very constant no matter which instrument the composer is going to compose for. Now, colors themselves actually don't make a picture. You have to combine it with shape to give the painting a definition. And composers combine, actually basically you know that melody and rhythm are both combined to give us a piece of composition. Now, actually, music notation is a contradictory term where music is something which is heard while notation is something which is seen. Notating music is thus a translation from one sensory modality to another. Music is sound, it is not merely some notes on a blank page. Yet, if we did not have the written music, we would have neither a preserved musical tradition nor many of its greatest works. So that way, the notation actually helps a lot in terms of preserving the thought process of the composer. Yet we can also see here that sound defies writing down. In practice, very little can be written, and what can has been condensed for all its complexities into a simple musical notational system. So thus we could say that the notation is some kind of a guideline only, and how it will actually translate into performance is something totally different. But nevertheless, as I said, the notation is very, very important in terms of guiding the performer about the path he has to follow in terms of how the composition actually goes. Now, in the Carnatic music context, where compositions also include the element of Sahitya, where we have the Sahitya, the Raga, and the Tala combining to give you a composition. The purpose and understanding of notation is quite different. And we will discuss about this in the next episode. CM 365, all about Carnatic music.